Hey, everybody, we're back again. I want to thank Cody Evans. Great time talking to him. But right now, I'm here with Katie as well as Rachel, and both are women that are entrepreneurs and are involved in some really cool networking groups that we were going to talk about. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
thrilled to be here.
Thank you again. I appreciate it. Before we kind of talk about the events upcoming, because I know you have a lot this summer, I wanted to get a little bit of background, learn a little bit more about y'all. So Katie, are you a Mainer originally, or are you a transplant?
I'm kind of sort of a Mainer. I've lived in Maine since I was 9 years old,
Yeah.
from Connecticut.
Okay.
So plus we moved up to like the Bangor area, so I get extra points for, going to high school
Yes.
in Herman.
Herman, Maine.
Herman,
yeah,
Maine.
exactly.
Yeah.
Smaller town.
Yeah,
And I think you get extra points by going even further than Portland to
Right.
all the way out there. Yeah.
exactly.
So Connecticut to Bangor area.
Yeah.
Now, was that your family had the job type of thing?
My dad wanted to move us to the country,
Yeah.
so he took a job up at Eastern Maine Medical Center, which is now something else. But
Yeah. It was a
Yeah.
great medical center too.
yeah.
So he's a doctor or doing
He is
something?
an engineer. He's
Engineer.
retired now,
Yeah.
and he moved to Tucson, Arizona, actually,
Oh,
and left us in the cold.
Yeah. He likes being out there.
He likes the
where
desert.
You get the desert.
Yeah, he's retired and warm.
And it's must have been a city in Connecticut then, right?
West Hartford.
West Hartford,
Yeah.
which is it's
Yeah.
a pretty dense city. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know. They think of Connecticut as this kind of waspy, very one thing. But I think Hartford is kind of like has a lot of the New York
Oh, yeah.
things.
I
and,
was
yeah,
right near just a few blocks from Hartford in the 80s,
Yeah.
which was known for
Known
being a little
for-
dangerous. And I would just ride my bike right into
Yeah,
Hartford. Yeah.
and that's a lot of people don't know about that. And Rachel, are you from Maine originally? Or?
I am not from
Yeah.
Maine. I'm originally from Chicago, but
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
lived in many. This is my sixth city, I counted.
Okay.
And I love it here, though.
Yeah.
I started visiting in the summers. Yep, I was one of those people
Yeah.
who fell in love with it in the summer, but I actually love all the seasons and winter. I have an aunt who lives here, and so I started visiting, and I was like, I think I need to move here.
Yeah. And talk about as well the difference between big city feeling. Chicago, a
Right.
lot of, depending on what part of town, there's a lot of ups and downs. That's where you grew up
Yeah, I grew up in the city. This is a
That's what I was
Chicago
gonna ask you,
thing.
yes.
I grew up in the city,
Right.
not in the suburbs.
Not like
and-
the Breakfast Club and all
Yeah.
these films that were done, Pretty in
Right.
Pink. They were all
Yeah.
filmed in like Evansville or places
Right.
that.
Yep.
So you lived right in the city.
Yep, I grew up
Yeah.
taking the public bus
Wow, okay.
to and from grammar school when I
Yeah.
was younger, and then I commuted out to the suburbs for high school, and I took the train, the plane, and the automobile basically it
Yeah,
took
yeah.
to get there, but I loved the school, and yeah, I was the weird kid from the city. They were like, "Did your mom drop you off?" And I'm like, my mom would never drive in an hour and a half of traffic to take me to school.
Right.
No, I took the train and the bus. They're
Yeah.
like, the bus? I've never been on a bus. Like,
All by yourself.
so yeah.
Well, and people think of like the city of New York, like if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. But Chicago's not very different. Like if you grew up in that kind of environment, being in Portland's like a cakewalk. I mean, you were talking about traffic coming in, but again, traffic in a lot of
Right.
these cities, LA, which I lived in, Chicago,
Yep.
they're pretty heavy duty. So, and what year did you move here again? You'd said,
I moved here in 2021,
okay,
height
yeah.
of the pandemic.
And so, with your networking group, I know you've found critical mass pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I run the Portland Women's Social Circle, and it's a community for women in the greater Portland, Maine area to make real life friends, make friends in real life. And we host all kinds of events every month. We've hosted an event with Katie. She hosted a workshop for us. And it's really just an opportunity to find that community and to make friends. As I've said, I've lived in this is my sixth city, and I had wished to have something like this when I moved to a new place. Because where do you make friends? How do you find community? If you work from home, as so many of us do, where are you supposed to go? And I found the group on Facebook and ended up going to an event and became friends with the woman who was running it. She left us. She moved out of state and betrothed the group to me. And it's really an honor to be able to create this space and this community for women especially. There are so many people moving here, as we all know. And even before the pandemic, there was such a boom of people coming. And it's really important to have community and to find friendships offline, in person.
Yeah, and as you've seen in bigger cities like in Chicago, obviously you get out of an age where you don't want to be in the bar scene to meet people,
Right.
and you don't, there's ways of meeting somebody for your partner or things like that, but that doesn't broaden your horizon. Then you are just with this one person or whichever. I know in Chicago that a lot of times they do like volleyball leagues
Yeah.
or softball or things like that. So this is more of an entrepreneurial spirit as well, or is there a
No.
networking component to it, or it's just mostly social? Or
It's a social networking,
Yeah.
but in real life,
Yeah,
it's to be able to find friends and people that you can go to brunch with, people you can go shopping with, somebody you can join a book club with. There's nowhere else to go to find those people. And I know firsthand how difficult it can be. And it's just to have that social, sort of like back in the 50s and 60s when every Friday night, like my grandparents would go to the little neighborhood, fraternal order of whatever, and they would go to the dance hall, and that's how they met friends, and that's how they found their partners. But it's sort of bringing that back. And we partner with people like Katie who can offer special workshops like networking and business growth, because there are people in the group who have those needs, and it's really wonderful.
And these are both strictly women's groups, correct?
Mine is not.
No.
No,
okay.
she lets men in.
I
Let's
do.
men in,
And
yeah.
people identifying as men, anybody,
Yeah.
Well,
Anyone.
it's because the one thing I was going to say about where women have come in
Yeah.
society was it could have been something like the Tupperware party,
Yes.
Right.
way back a million
Yes.
years
Right.
ago. But now women have become, have advanced in careers and things like that. But that office meeting people at work can be extremely limiting, and probably a lot of the people you work with you don't want to socialize with outside of work as much. So it's a good thing to have. And so touching upon your group, what's the name of your group as well?
The Atrium.
The Atrium. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a place to grow and flourish.
Yes.
So-
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, so mine is geared towards entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
or I say people who are business curious.
Okay.
Like you might have a project, you might be writing a book, interested in nonprofit work. Anyone who wants to share ideas and get inspired in like a business related way.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And this group started also in the early 20s, or
This started August 2024. We're not even a
Okay,
year
yeah,
old.
So it's a little new. Now,
Yeah.
was this an outgrowth of your group, or totally separate, or you met through that? or-
Totally separate.
Like-minded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like-minded. I had been to Portland Women's Social Circle, and I was seeing online on social media, I was seeing entrepreneurial groups doing these really cool events. And I wanted that, and I wasn't seeing it around Portland.
Yeah.
We do have business networking around here. It's not, I didn't see it looking like how I wanted to.
Exactly. Yes.
So I decided to bring something a little fresh,
Yeah.
a little different. There's room for everybody.
Yeah. Right.
There really is. And so I thought, what would it be like to, so it actually started because I got box seats to the Sea Dogs, and it happened to be Women's Business Night and celebrating women in business. And so my first event was actually for women, because I thought, how cool would it be to get 22 women in the skybox on this night to celebrate them? I could invite a handful of people. They could each invite someone. We could have a networking event. And then we ended up having cocktail hour at the Longfellow Hotel first. And I had sponsors and swag bags, and everyone loved it so much. I could just really see that the need was there.
Yeah.
So I had someone teaching actually about human design and how that reflects your human design in your business. And since then, the workshops have been all over the place. We just had one that Rachel was at, held at a social media agency,
Oh, okay.
and to help entrepreneurs and business owners really connect with their audience in an authentic way. So
Yeah.
I've been to several
Yeah.
events, and the one she created for our group about how to business network and how to do that well and craft your story and learn how to talk in a room. It was so valuable. The value that Katie offers with the Atrium group is worth like 8 times, what it is, because she's giving us the opportunity to meet again in person and then build that network of not only fellow business owners, but create friends and educate us at the same time. I mean, the educational content she puts together,
Thank
being
you.
a former teacher, like it's
Yes.
very natural for her
Yeah.
to do this. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, and I getting back to
Yeah.
the idea that you had seen there was existing
Yeah.
groups. So I have friends that I remember that are, entrepreneurs trying to start their own business, and they would go to some types of things, chamber of commerce or
Right.
things, and it was unfulfilling.
Yeah.
And because I think it doesn't have its own unique flavor to it. These are kind of clunk, and that's
Yeah.
what they are. So you're adding your own dynamics and making it exciting, and people are having fun.
Yep.
They don't feel it's as stuffy.
Right. It's less of, so we do, like I said, there are groups, Chamber of Commerce and so on, that have networking events. And it's a little bit more, you show up and your business cards, and it's what people are used to. And that's okay, because there's a sense of comfort in that for some people. They don't, because showing up to an event where I say it's unique and they might be learning something that they've never learned before, it really, the person who's going to show up wants to be seen and wants to learn something new and doesn't want to hide behind a big crowd of people. And my events, generally just space-wise, or to make sure that everybody gets a chance to ask questions, are, I call them micro events. They're usually under 20 people. Unless we have like a casual mixer type of thing, and then it could be more than that. But it's generally, you're going to be seen. You're going to talk about your business, so you have to show up and be ready to be visible.
Interesting. It's almost like a mini incubator in its own ways. Because it's like you say. I mean, again, nothing against the Chamber of Commerce.
No,
but
we
I feel
loved
like,
all the chambers.
But I feel like, but I do feel like, in the times I joined my friend, who was a photographer at the time, working on his business, he felt like everybody's just, exchanging cards. Everybody's wanting to sell somebody on something like, oh, can I sell you this insurance and this? Very transactional. Not a lot really creatively happens. He was unfulfilled in it because he was trying to do something creative. It sounds more like these events are, people get more nourishment out of it in a lot of ways than just feeling like I got like 20 cards and I handed out. I think that's almost for a lot of people, it's like they feel like they have to do that kind of thing. This is something they go and they have a good time and enjoy it.
Yeah. I've been told by people who hate networking that they like my events. So I'll take that as a compliment.
They have fun. It's social. You create unique different things each time.
We've been at Restore Hyper Wellness, we'll go into their salt room and do networking and talk about your business and some coaching in the salt room, and go through a meditation to get deeper into what you want your business to be. And I call it biohack your business. So it's interesting, right?
And with your groups, you've said they're a larger amount of people now, so you have to handle them a little bit differently than yourself that are smaller. So what would go on at one of your networking events?
Yeah, we do monthly happy hour events all around Portland, and we couldn't do that without the support of the restaurants and the community here. So we and I know Katie feels the same way about her partners that we work with, but that is a really low stress, easy entry. Come as you are, have a cocktail, have a non-alcoholic drink, and just chat with people. Those are just sort of the easy entree into finding friends. And then I've also created other events that are arts and crafts based. We did lobster buoy painting. We're doing some other exciting things coming up, like a wellness workshop. We just did our first micro adventure. We went away. I took a smaller group of women, took 5 women, and we went to Diamond Island for the weekend because some people find that they want this smaller community of group to really be seen, really have an in-depth conversation and not just have the surface small talk. So we offer something for everybody. And I think that's something I've really strived to do since taking over, because not everybody wants to walk into a room of 45 people and have to try to find a connection, but some people love that and they want that, and that's where they feel comfortable. And that's why we create a variety of size events and style of events.
I know Rachel, it's important, like it is to me, to really kind of guide the atmosphere, the culture of the room, because I did go to a Portland Women's Social Circle event prior to taking over, and it was lovely. It was in a bar, and there were tons of women, and I met someone I'm still friends with. But it was like a sea, and I was a little intimidated. I didn't know where to begin. I stood by the bar and I was like, okay, the first person who comes up here, I'm going to talk to.
Right.
But the second time I went, Rachel had taken over, and I walked in and she said, there's a spot over here, and I'm going to have all of the tables move around after like 15 minutes. So talk to everyone there, and then we're going to like musical chairs it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
very
you.
intentional about it. I stand at the door, I welcome everybody, I introduce myself, I let them know if they feel uncomfortable that I can move them around or introduce them to people. And I have done that. And it's actually, I get messages from people after who are like, thank you so much for taking me over to that table of people because we went to brunch and now I feel like I have friends. And like that just gives me chills, and that's what it's about. And I know that's what it's about for you when you get that feedback from people, because that's what it matters in life, right? Is finding those connections and making people feel good and helping them in whether that's in business, networking, their personal social life. Because our social lives change and so do our business lives, right? I mean, think of all the times, Luigi, you have changed friendships or friendships have evolved. That's what, from grade school, high school, college, after, if you've moved a city, if you've been married, divorced, separated, remarried, your friendship circles are constantly changing. And if you don't take that time and intention to like try to find those people, you can end up with maybe not the friendships you really want,
Yeah, and I think that friendships evolve, and especially with Portland, because Portland structurally hasn't been able to evolve in its own ways to keep up with all the new people that are coming from everywhere. And as we all know, I've moved to a lot of cities as well. Being the new person, it's really hard to meet people. And you don't need a million friends, but if you can find 5 or 6 really interesting people that you have things in common with, I mean, it makes all the difference in the world. So let's just make sure that we can tell people how can they find these groups and what's coming up. And did you want to?
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you go to jointheatrium.org on the website, you will find me. And that's also for Instagram, Join the Atrium. And if you get on my email list on the website, you will be notified before anyone else on upcoming events. Our next event is really interesting. At the end of the month, on the 25th, we'll be at Good Medicine Collective, and there's a fire artist named Cinnamon Brulee. And she has been to Burning Man, and she does this special Japanese burning art called yakisugi, and she's going to lead us through this whole, if you have blocks, mindset blocks, and you want to like really get past that and feel empowered in your business, or she's going to lead us through a whole workshop, which can end in an optional cold plunge and sauna. So
That's very exciting.
So that's the next workshop coming up. And then this summer, I'm going to try to keep it chill and, maybe even beach meetups and things outdoors a little bit more, and some rooftop bars. So
take advantage of this great weather.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And yourself?
Yeah, you can find us at the portlandwomenssocialcircle.com, all of the words. And you can join our Facebook group, and we have an Instagram. It's all the same handles. And we have a group for every age range of women. Our upcoming events, we're doing a smaller group. We're going to Sea Dogs because everybody has to experience a Sea Dogs game in the summer in Maine, or else you didn't do summer here. And we're doing that. And like I said, we're working on a wellness workshop that's also happening at Good Medicine Collective at the end of July. And I'm working on a dance party.
All right, that's a lot of fun.
A dance like for early birds, like we go at 6 p.m. and leave at 9 p.m. and we dance like we're in the club and have a good time. And then our monthly happy hours are every month. You can find all that on our website. Same thing, you can sign up for our email list and be notified. portlandwomenssocialcircle.com.
Awesome. Yeah, it's such a great idea. They're doing it in a way where it fits a need, but also super creatively. Like, I love that idea about the early dance party. A lot of people want to still experience and have fun, but you don't want to be out there in this kind of nightlife nowadays after 10 at night.
No.
No.
Why not? Yeah, make things happen in different ways. So I want to thank you, ladies, so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully, I'll get invited to some. I'm not going to be able to go to yours, but
okay.
maybe to your events. Yeah.
Anytime.
You can tell your friends,
Tell
though.
my lady friends
Yeah.
exactly. Thanks again. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. We'll be right back. Thanks.